Hi and welcome back to Efficient Pipe Design. In this video we're going to be going through the final section, section 7, where we're going to be pulling everything together and generate our pipe design network from the alignment and profile that we've just been generated. What can you expect from this section? We're going to come in and we're going to be looking at the 90% milestone, which is your turning point on the design. We'll be basically pulling everything together by taking the vertical and horizontal and extracting the data out. And from that, we're going to create a feature line from the vertical and the horizontal. We'll be importing the parts from our library or our separate drawing that we've generated for the diameters. We'll create the pipe network. We'll show you how to go through swapping parts, applying rules, and then at the very end, we'll show you how to merge multiple networks for those straggling branches. So we're going to hop back in our drawing, and as you can see, we've got the vertical and the horizontal alignments already preset out and ready to go. The next step is to extract the information. Now, one thing before we continue forward is we have been designing this vertical in both cases to the top of the pipe. Before we start extracting the data, we need to put these alignments to the center of the pipe. Now, being that this is a 12-inch alignment a 24-inch alignment for our vertical, we're going to come in here and we're going to edit the geometry, and we're going to lower this thing half the diameter. So I'm going to bring it down -1 foot, so that way it drops it. As you saw over here, it dropped it here as well. This one's an 8-inch, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to basically edit the geometry again, make sure it changed to the appropriate pipe, and I'm going to lower it by -4 or 0.33. So now that we've lowered our pipes, we are now ready to extract that information. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and it's very simple actually. We're going to come up to the feature lines, and we're going to create a feature line from an alignment. So I'm going to select my main alignment. It's going to bring up a nice dialog box. It's going to ask me where I want to put my feature line and from what profile. Make sure when you pull it down that you grab your design profile, because it just will default to any of the 3 that are in there. And what I typically do is I'll turn the weed points off because I want all the points in there. Now if you accidentally leave it on, I'm going to leave it on and show you what it does, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can come down here, and we want to not make a dynamic link, so you're going to unselect this and you're going to hit next. It's going to ask you to weed the factors out of it. What you're seeing here is it's showing a either bend or deflection within the pipe all the way through, and I want them all, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this as all generic, and I'm going to hit OK. So now you can see we have extracted the feature line from the alignment. The next step is to go in, open the drawing that we had generated all of our parts list from, and import the parts that we need to facilitate our piping. So what I've done is I have actually opened up the drawing already, and what we can do is through the prospector in the tool space, we can take a look at this guy and say into our settings, go down to the drawing, go into our parts list, and just simply click and drag over the parts list we want to bring in. Sometimes it's a little finicky. And now, as you can see, it's populating my drawing with all the particular parts. So the next step is to now generate the pipe network. So I'm going to come up here on my Home tab in the ribbon. I'm going to go and pull down my pipe network, and I'm going to create pipe network from an object. I'm going to select the feature line that I extracted. The direction, again, if you're in a gravity system, this is going to be very important, but being that we're in pressure, everything I believe is exactly the way we want it. I'm going to go ahead and select OK. I don't need to reverse the direction. And it's going to ask me to give me a name of my network. I'm going to call this the 24-inch main. And I now have the ability to select the network parts list. I'm going to grab the one I just brought in. I want all my pipes to be the 24-inch. It's the only one I have. Now, for the structures, what you want to do is you want to make the structure as generic as possible, because you're going to be doing a lot of swapping. And wouldn't behoove us to make them all, 45-degree bends or something like that. What we really want to do is make them that deflection piece that we had set up prior. Now, if you want to give it a surface name or an alignment name, at this point you could go ahead and do that, but I'm going to just select it as none because I want it to operate independently. I want to erase my existing entity, and I want to use the vertex for the elevations. And being that this is the center line of the pipe, this is how we want, where we want it to pull the information from. So now that that is completed, I come down here and I select OK, and voila, it has selected the particular styles for the pipe. I can see that my double line pipe is in fact in there. All the fittings have been placed in. I'm going to zoom into an area, and that doesn't look like a 45-degree bend, does it? This is where we're now going to come in and start swapping our pipe parts. To swap our pipe parts, you simply select the part, right click, and say swap the part out. It's going to bring up all the different various structure styles that we had generated, and in this case I want to put in the 45-degree horizontal bend. I'm going to select it, and now I zoom in and I can see that it is in fact, hey, that's my bend. That's awesome. I'm going to select the piece and I'm going to rotate it through, and I'm just going to snap to the center of the alignment. Any nearest would be just fine. And now my part looks appropriate. Yes, there is the outline. I said that we'd put a wipeout portion on that if I wanted to, which we shall do. I'm going to go ahead and open up my layer manager, and I'm going to go to my wipeout and I'm going to freeze it off so we can't see it. And there's my pipe part piece. So what you will simply now do is just go through and do a lot of swapping. You're going to come in over here. We know that these are vertical bends up and down, so I'm going to take and start swapping these parts out such that this is basically a vertical bend 45-degree up, and this guy I believe is a 45-degree bend vertical down. And when we rotate them through properly, you can actually start getting a feel of the 3D effect on it, that it's in fact coming along and then it turns and comes back up over. Now, even if a piece is forgotten, not to worry. You can come in and basically at any point in time modify your pipe network by selecting it and edit network. It's going to bring up the trusty old toolbar. And I forgot to put a T in this area, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab this guy, and I want a T. So let's grab the T, the 24-inch T, and if when I just hover over, it identifies the pipe. It's going to break it where I need it to be broken and put the T in for me. Hit OK, and now I can take this part and I can snap it to the end point. And it does not interrupt the vertical information on the pipe. It's still kept. It just broke it at that particular point. So now what we need to do is just add the pipes to the vertical profile. And in doing so, and I probably should have said this a little bit earlier before swapping the parts out, but we can basically select the pipe pieces and the parts that we've swapped out and any of the bends, and it's going to grab the portions that we want. We right click and we select similar. So now my entire network has been selected, and I just right click and I want to draw the parts in the profile view and I snap it in. Now what I want to bring to your attention is yikes, we've got a lot of sumps through here that do not appear to be correct. This is where that pipe rule is going to help us out. So now if you remember, when we brought the pipe portions in from our original library, it also brought in the rules. So let's go in, we're going to come into our settings, and we're going to take a look at our pipe structure items, and we're going to go into the rules, and you see that it brought in the 24-inch ductile iron pipe rule. And if you remember, within this rule we've got the sump depth set. So this is working out perfectly. We're now just needing to apply these rules to the pipe and all the structures in between. So what we can do is we can come in over here to our Modify tab, and we want to modify the pipe network. The ribbon is changed. You're in the Modify area. As it is, you just pull down and you will see the Apply Rules. Select this. It's going to ask you to select the upslope portion of the pipe. So being that the direction in this was in this fashion, we're going to just come over here and select the first piece and come back over here and select the last piece. So what this does is it highlights the entire pipe network, and when we hit enter, you notice it comes through and it presets all the pieces to where it needed to have been. Now for the final task, we're going to go in and merge a couple of our branches together. Remember that 18-inch supply pipeline that we had going to the north? Well, what we need to do is we need to actually create a pipe network from that, and then we need to merge it into the primary main so that that way we can have everything talking to each other. To do that, I'm going to switch to drawing where the item is actually inlaid into the drawing. And what I have done is I have already extracted the feature line from the alignment, vertical alignment that we had before, defining the center line of the pipe. Now, before I convert this to my 18-inch supply line, I am going to remove the last node from the feature line. So basically this again is identifying all the vertical breaks and horizontal breaks as it goes through, but the last one we want, the last node portion, is what we want to remove. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to select the feature line, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break it. I'm going to select here, and then I'm going to come up and I want to break it to the end point right there. And I've got that portion selected. Now it has been broken. So the last bit of the line I'll have to do after I have converted it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in from my library, I need to go and grab that lovely 18-inch set of pipes. So I'm going to come back over here into my settings tab. I'm going to navigate to my library drawing that contains all the network parts lists. I'm going to grab the 18-inch and I'm just going to drag it on over. And when I drag it on over, it brings it into my drawing. And now I can create a pipeline from the feature line with the given parameters that I need. So I'm going to come back over to my home tab and I'm going to go into pipe network, and I want to create a pipe network from object again. This process has already went through once, so hopefully it goes a little faster this time. At this point I'm going to call it my 18-inch. Oh, can't do the inch, so I'm going to do the inch supply. And I'm going to give it the parts list of the 18-inch, going for that 18-inch ductile iron pipe. Again, I'm going to go with my structure properties as being my deflection. I want to erase the entity and use the vertex elevations from the center line. I hit OK, and now my part pieces come in. So now that the pipe network has been created, we now want to merge it in with the 24-inch pipeline. To do this, we want to go into Modify, and we want to modify pipe networks. Within here, you can select the merge networks. We're going to grab this, and it's going to ask you, select the pipe network to be merged into another network. I'm going to grab my 18-inch supply line. I'm going to hit OK, and then it's going to say, what's your destination? I'm going to bring it into my 24-inch. When I hit OK, boy, it seemed like nothing happened whatsoever. But now this network is a portion of this. So now that the 18-inch is merged into the entire network, we need to connect these two pieces together. So we can simply click on the pipe, right click, edit the network. And as you'll note, we only have the 24-inch available, so we need to basically select to the other diameter. We can do that by simply selecting here on the parts list and selecting the 18-inch there. Now the 18-inch pipe is available to us. We only want to do pipes only. So now I've got selected that, and I'm going to hover over my part. It's going to snap to it, and now it wants the end point. I'm going to hover again, and now the parts are connected. Well, this has definitely been a blast for me, and this concludes the Efficient Pipe Design class. Again, my name is Brian Tomasi, and if you have any questions whatsoever, please email me at brian.tomasi@tetratech.com. All materials and class handouts in this PowerPoint will be available for you to download. Thank you and have a wonderful day.